Oh, hey, welcome back to the channel that is the Slash Sisters. I am Slash Sister Hallie.
And I am Slash Sister Jen. And we want to thank you for coming back to Slash Sisters for all of your horror movie review needs.
So many slashes.
I know. Slash city, slash.
And if you're new here, we want, if you're new here, or you just haven't done it yet, why haven't you?
I'm sure there's plenty of you out there who have not hit that subscribe button yet.
I know that
we're looking at you.
I know that there is, because I see the algorithms and the analytics and everything.
Yep.
But yes, go ahead and please hit this subscribe button right here, so you can stay up to date on what we've got coming on.
And you never miss any of our new videos. That would be a tragedy if you miss one of our videos.
I mean, is it really the end?
Today, we are going to take another trip into the mind of one of the greatest horror directors of our time, of this
generation,
Mr. Jordan Peele.
We have already covered his film Get Out, and we definitely intend to keep covering his most recent film Nope, and even like the ones that he hasn't directed but has produced and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But today we are going to be taking a deep dive into the world of red jumpsuits, and no, we're not talking about Slipknot, but we are talking about the 2019 film that is
Us.
The shortest fucking title we have ever covered.
Yeah, it really is.
I thought Jaws was short.
So let's go ahead and jump right in, because there is certainly a lot to unpack with this film.
Oh, definitely. We start the movie in 1986, and I gotta say that there is a nod at the very beginning of this film.
As we're watching the TV?
Yeah, as we're watching the TV, the camera is zooming in on a TV. Just to the left of the TV are 4 VHS tapes. One of them is C.H.U.D. from, I believe, 1984?
I think so, yeah.
84 or 85. C.H.U.D. stands for Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers.
Mm-hmm. Sitting right next to it is the Goonies, and there's actually a really, really funny Goonies reference later in the movie that I'm going to point out to you that I did not catch the first time that I watched it. So sitting next to each other are C.H.U.D. and the Goonies, and then there's like a home videotape that has some writing on it.
And then there's another...
And there's another one, and Randy actually looked at it when we were watching it, and I don't remember what the other movie is.
I can't remember what it is, but the 3 actual VHSs there all deal with something underground.
Mm-hmm.
Note that, please.
Yes.
But we are following a little girl named...
Actually, if we want to really start out... The movie starts out telling us that there are underground tunnels that we have no idea all over the world, or all over the country. Underground tunnels that are abandoned, and some that we have no idea what they were even there for in the first place. So,
yeah,
that's what we really started.
Honestly.
Yes.
So, yes, underground tunnels, underground theme.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Noted.
We're getting there.
But we start off following a little girl named Adelaide as she walks the boardwalk of Santa Cruz Beach with her parents. They actually point out that they're filming something just across the pier.
I know. What do you think they could have been filming in 1986 on a beach pier?
Probably Lost Boys.
Mm-hmm, that's what I was thinking too. And I can't tell you how many times I'll probably accidentally slip up and call it Santa Carla instead of Santa Cruz. Many times while I was typing up our script today, I was like, nope, not Carla, Cruz.
Anyway.
So anyways, yeah, so they're, she wanders off from her dad. Her mom goes to the bathroom, her dad is playing whack-a-mole, and, probably drinking another beer. But
her dad is played by the fabulous Yahya Abdul-Mateen II.
Yes, who is also in another Jordan Peele production. He plays the main character in Candyman that came out in 2021. So
right.
We will get to that one very soon too.
He also, and this is how I discovered him, played Black Manta in Aquaman 1 and 2.
Yeah, okay. So Adelaide wanders off from the pier and down onto the beach, where she ends up walking into a funhouse.
Wasn't so much fun in there. Inside the funhouse, she encounters a doppelganger of herself.
You know what's weird? Last week we talked about doppelgangers because we had Mia and her doppelganger in Evil Dead. Now we've got an entire movie
I swear to God, we're not actually
plan
planning this stuff. You know, okay, the cabin in the woods thing, yes, we did kind of plan that
a little bit.
But, I mean,
we're just, we're keeping a theme. We're tying everything along.
Yes, we're just lacing everything up nicely.
Yeah. Following the incident in the funhouse, Addie stops talking and completely withdraws from her parents.
But does she quit talking?
Yes. Addie no longer talks after the incident and completely withdraws from her parents.
If you've seen this,
Hopefully you have seen this, and that's why you're watching this movie or this review.
Right. 33 years later, Adelaide reluctantly goes on a vacation with her husband, played by Winston Duke. And,
yes. Which I absolutely love. I love Winston Duke. I think he's a phenomenal actor.
Baku!
I love his character in this movie. He is so funny and just like a typical dad. Right. And he makes so many funny dad jokes that I want to hug him. He's so cute and funny.
But Winston Duke plays her husband, and Adelaide now is played by
Lupita Nyong'o.
Yes,
Lupita Nyong'o, who also is just phenomenal actress. She's been in a lot of really, really good stuff, and I just have to say she's absolutely stunning, beautiful.
They actually both were in the 2016 Black Panther.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
So,
anyways.
But Adelaide reluctantly goes on vacation with her husband, Gabe, and their children, Zara and Jason.
Yes.
Zora and Jason.
Zora. Yep. They meet their friends, Josh and Kitty Tyler, and their twin daughters, Becca and Lindsay, at the beach in Santa Cruz after really kind of having to really twist Addie's arm to get her to go. She doesn't really give a reason why right away, at least.
But if you know, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the beginning of the movie. We know she's obviously got some trauma from the beach at Santa Cruz.
Yeah. Trauma.
Yes, trauma.
Kitty also is played by Elizabeth Moss in this, too.
I just love Elizabeth Moss. I just love Elizabeth Moss. I think she's a fantastic actress.
Talented. She's very talented.
I love her character in this movie, and I love the relationship between her and her husband. They're so funny.
They're so dumb.
What do we say?
I hate you?
That works?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
I think they're so cute. And, you can tell they hate each other, but I think they just, they're whatever, we've been together for so long, we're just going to stay together even though we hate each other.
Yeah, pretty much. On the way there, they witness paramedics taking away a bloody body of a man holding a sign identical to one Adelaide saw on the day she went into the funhouse.
Yeah, she saw a homeless-looking man, or at least a pretty disheveled-looking man, on the day that she went in back in 1986, holding a sign that said Jeremiah 11:11. Mm-hmm. And they just watched a man being put into an ambulance with a sign that says Jeremiah 11:11.
Which I believe talks about end times or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't bother looking up the Bible verse.
Hey, we can put it right down here. I don't really want to open the Bible and try to find it out, but
I don't even know the Bible. I think I would probably burst into flames if I touched one.
I might have one.
Our producer Amy's back there is laughing at me for saying
Amy's
that.
got one. We'll look it up later. Yeah, there's also Google. Duh.
No sass from the peanut gallery. Thank you very much.
So later, after, kind of playing on the beach and stuff like that, Jason leaves to go to the bathroom and sees a man strangely similar to the same man that they just saw being loaded into the ambulance, standing still on the beach with his hands outstretched and stained with blood.
Oh yeah, so the what was being aired on the TV in the opening sequence was actually a commercial.
An ad, yeah, a commercial
for Hands Across America.
This summer, 6 million people will tether themselves together to fight hunger in the United States.
Which is a real thing. This really happened. There was a large coordinated effort for people across the entire country of America,
the continental United States,
to hold hands all the way across the country.
It failed miserably, though. The whole campaign failed miserably because it was designed to raise money for hunger. It was designed to raise money for hunger, and it did absolutely nothing.
No.
That night, Adelaide tells Gabe the story of what happened to her when she was a child in the funhouse,
or at least as much as she wants to tell him.
When the lights suddenly go out.
Uh-oh. This is when they wanted to have that backup generator.
Yeah.
Like Kitty and... what's her husband's name?
Tyler?
Yes, Kitty and Tyler.
No, Josh. Tyler's the last name.
Yeah, that's it. Jason notices...
There's a family in our driveway.
Standing at the top of their driveway. At this point, Gabe's like, I'm about to go find out what's going on. So he goes out there and is like, hey, what are you guys doing? Why are you at my house? It's pretty late. It's dark. What the fuck you up to?
Yeah, basically. The family, dressed completely in red, break into the Wilsons' house, cornering the family in the living room.
Yeah.
By the way, did you notice that not only are they all wearing red jumpsuits, so they look somewhat alike, when they also only have one glove on their hand.
I wonder why that is. Couldn't possibly be because of a Michael Jackson reference, right?
Oh, no, because Adelaide's father won her a t-shirt in '86 that said Thriller on it.
Michael Jackson's Thriller had right on the t-shirt. So it's definitely a nod to Michael Jackson.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
100%. Yeah, so the intruders are Red, which is Addie's doppelganger, and the Wilsons' doppelgangers. So it's the rest of it's them. At one point, Jason looks at the family and says,
It's us.
And hence we get the name of the movie. But we have Jason's double, which is Pluto, and he's a pyromaniac. Like, scary. Facially scarred.
He loves to play with fire.
He likes to play with fire.
Umbra, Zora's sadistic double, and Abraham, Gabe's animalistic double.
Yeah. They literally, like, the rest of the people in red, or as we can just go ahead and start calling them the tethered.
Right.
Red is the only one who can speak. The rest of them grunt or growl or just There's a lot of weird noises that happen that they communicate with each other that way, though.
Which is really interesting when you take a look at the fact that none of these, with the exception of the twins, are actually twins. They're literally playing two separate characters in this film.
Yeah,
so
completely separate characters.
It's really interesting to see that the
like the behind the scenes stuff from the filming of this, when literally like each person is playing two characters, so they had to
they had body doubles in for like the opposite scene and everything, like, but they had to play those scenes twice.
Yeah,
from two different angles.
And so Red speaks with this like raspy, guttural, like almost kind of cut off speaking.
There was a girl, and the girl had a shadow.
In the scenes where Lupita Nyong'o had to play Addie, Jordan Peele himself spoke her parts in the same broken, Red. As Red, in that same broken, raspy voice, so that she could stay in character. And apparently, when she was Red, even in between scenes, she continued to speak like that.
I cannot stand that method acting bullshit.
It was only when she was Red. She wanted to keep the voice.
It's method acting, and that's how people go insane.
She didn't stay as Red. She only kept the voice so that she wouldn't get out of being able to keep the voice going. She was afraid that if she stopped, she wouldn't be able to get the voice back in order to keep it consistent through the movie.
I hate that.
I know.
I fucking hate that. Anyway, Red explains to Adelaide and the rest of the Wilsons that they are called the tethered, as they share a soul with their counterparts, and have to come to untether themselves, and have come to untether themselves.
Yeah, so they have one soul shared by both bodies.
Right. There's actually a theory, I think it's Red comes up with a theory later in the film, where she talks about like the fact that they're all clones. They're all clones, and they weren't born with a soul, so they have to share the soul of their counterpart that lives above.
Yeah. I mean, so she essentially, Red essentially says to her, you know, while you were up here and you met your Gabe, me, Red, I was tethered. I had to be with Abraham because
I didn't have a choice.
I didn't have a choice because he's tethered to you. You know, he's tethered to your partner.
It's really weird how it's like mirrored.
It is. And then she says something like, when you had your first child, I gave birth to an abomination.
The girl had her first child, a beautiful baby girl. But the shadow, she gave birth to a little monster.
You know, I gave birth to this little shit, basically.
Yeah.
And then, you know, she says, and then when you had your son and they had to do a C-section, they cut me open and ripped that baby out of my body. You know? So she's talking about how the things that are happening to the people above, in the normal world above, are still happening to the people in the underground, to the tethered. Right. It's just, it's happening differently, which is scary.
Yeah, the dichotomy of this is very out there.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, for sure. The Wilsons are then separated and terrorized by their doppelgangers. Zora is chased by Umbre. Abraham grabs Gabe by the leg. Well, first he takes his glasses from him. Because he's like, puts his glasses on, like, I can actually see. What the fuck? And he drags them out of the house by the leg. And then Red tells Jason and Pluto to go and play and try
not to burn down the house.
fire.
Not to burn the house.
Not to burn the house down. Right. Yes.
Go play, boys. Don't burn our house down.
Jason discovers that Pluto mirrors his actions while they are playing in the closet. This will also come into play later, so jot that down. And he is able to trap him in a closet with his magic trick finally working.
Yeah, finally. He'd been trying through the whole damn movie. Finally got it to flash, and then he was able to surprise him enough to get out and lock him in there.
Which the only reason why he was able to do that, and if you notice it very carefully, is that there was an ambulance, a toy ambulance Matchbox car that was preventing the door from shutting initially in the first place.
Right, which he got locked in the closet earlier in the movie. Jason did. At the beginning of the movie when they first get to the cabin, or to the house. Anyways, Abraham takes Gabe out onto the family boat.
Gabe is so fucking happy to get.
The Crawdaddy! It veers a little to the left. Anyways.
Goddamn veers to the left!
So he ends up, basically kind of beating Gabe up, and then wraps him in garbage bags and takes him out on the boat. Abraham does. When the boat actually finally sputters out, because, you know, it does that sometimes. Don't worry. Gabe knows how to fix it. Gabe is actually able to get the upper hand. And ultimately, Abraham is killed when Gabe gets that motor going again.
So,
and
if you know,
Abraham is sucked down into the propellers.
If you watch the scene closely, Gabe bangs Abraham's head onto the outboard motor, which kicks it into gear, and the propeller stirs and just shreds Abraham.
Yep.
It's quite funny.
But that's also after Abraham. Okay, so he guns it, right? And
right.
They both fall out of the boat, but Abraham is being dragged by the life preserver.
The rope. There's a rope. There's a rope that he got.
It was tied around his ankle, and he's being dragged around the lake.
And as Gabe's sitting there trying to swim towards shore, the boat comes back around. And he's goddamn veers to the fucking left. By far one of the funniest scenes in this entire film.
Oh my gosh.
By far.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, the Tyler family...
There's a person walking around outside our fucking house.
It's probably a squirrel. I don't know.
Would you please get up and look?
I'm busy. I'm busy.
...is attacked and murdered in their home by their doppelgangers. By the way, the twins in this scene, which were actually twins in this.
Yes.
They were a reference to the Grady twins from The Shining.
Especially when they
when they're laying on in that
when
elevated
we come up
hallway.
The stairs, later in when the kids are up.
Right. When the Wilsons end up in the house.
It is like a direct reference. The way that the girls are laying, everything, the blood.
Right.
I mean, it's just for sure.
It's a very clear ref. If you've seen The Shining, you completely understand that, and then the fact that they're twins too just sells it even more.
Yeah, like this whole scene with the Tylers though is so funny because like first Kitty comes, she's like, there's somebody outside. Why did the generator just kick in? And he's like, oh man, I'm fucking comfortable. I don't want to go look. Like this sucks. And then what does he turn on? What's the first song he turns on?
I can't remember.
I can't remember either. But eventually, once they've been attacked, Kitty tries to...
Ophelia. Not what we know.
Not Alexa.
No.
We can't say that too loud because things will happen in this house.
Right. I have a bunch of echoes through my house.
Yes. But Ophelia, at some point, while Kitty is crawling to her...
She tries to tell Ophelia to call the police.
And instead, she plays Fuck the Police
by NWA.
Ophelia, call the police.
Sure, playing Fuck the Police by NWA.
Which is just hilarious. And on top of that, there's also, like, right before that, the doppelganger of her husband, Tex, I think is what his name is. Once he's
right.
He, like, reaches down, because she's, like, reaching up for him, like, please save me, and he reaches down and then goes... Which is just... I mean, hilarious. It's just so funny. It's so funny. There's so many funny little things in this movie. I love it. Anyways, the Wilsons then arrive hoping to get help. Like, they think that this family that attacked them
is just a one-off incident.
Yeah. But they get there and they realize that things are a lot more widespread than they thought, and the Tylers are all dead. But yeah, the Tylers doubles start trying to attack the Wilsons.
Mm-hmm. To which the Wilsons promptly dispatch the Tylers doubles. They're tethered. They turn on the news and learn that the tethered have been murdering their equivalents across the city and subsequently joining hands to form a massive human chain similar to the one from the Hands Across America demonstration from 1986.
Yeah, I love this scene too because the family is like, all four of them are sitting there watching TV, and like one of the twins is just laying on the twin that got thrown over the balcony is just like laying there dead, because we know that Adelaide ends up coming back in and killing her later. Right. But yes, they're just like a girl laying there like mostly dead while they're watching the news. Anyways, carrying on.
But they are surrounding the city, preventing anyone from entering or leaving the city of Santa Cruz.
And if we think about it though, if it's Hands Across America, if that is the goal, then they're not just blocking Santa Cruz.
Well, no, and the very ending shot, the aerial shot, shows them like going over like mountains and stuff like that. So we know it's more widespread than just Santa Cruz.
Yes, exactly. It's really kind of at this point though that we see the scale of
everything of what's going on. Yeah.
So the Wilsons, Adelaide basically is like, we need to go to Mexico. She's like, we got to get out of the United States.
I don't know why Mexico's a good idea, but okay.
Well, she knows why.
I have the highest kill count in the family.
You don't have the highest kill count.
I killed both twins.
Wrong. I just killed the second one.
I killed Kitty.
So that's 1, 1, 1, and 2. I killed 2. I killed myself and Josh, so...
Anyways, the Wilsons decide to drive along the coast and escape to Mexico, but while they're leaving, Umbre intercepts the car, and Zora has a little bit of fun trying to get her off of it.
Yes, because Zora, who is... what would you say?
Like 14,
12,
15,
13 maybe.
Yeah. Like she's young.
She's young, but she's driving the fucking car because
Adelaide
is handcuffed
and
Gabe
has a bad leg. Gabe got beat up. So.
Well, I mean, the first thing that happened was Abraham took the bat from him and
at
the start of it, cracked his leg. So he's been limping this entire time.
Yeah, so Zora's driving... Not even their car. Zora is driving, like, the freaking Land Rover that belongs to the Tylers or whatever. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, so like, then there's Umbre, and she fucking tries to run her over, but, of course, that crazy little bitch climbs right up on top of the car.
Before all of that, I have to go back to talk about the scene with the other boat. The second boat. The second boat scene. When
Gabe kills Tex.
Yes. When Gabe is in Josh's boat, mm-hmm. and Tex knows that he's in there.
Yeah.
And Tex comes up and Gabe fires a flare at him, and it just... bounces off his chest to
Yeah.
the floor.
Yeah, and
then they have this huge drag out battle that we don't get to see,
don't even
but
get
we
to
see
see
the
it,
boat
but
rocking. and
we
everything
know
like
that Gabe wins.
We know that Gabe wins because he comes back up to the house and he knocks on the door. Zora opens the door and he said, I'm done with boats.
I'm so done with boats. Yeah, I mean, I would be
boats
too.
are done. I'm done with boats.
Yeah. But yeah, eventually, like, once Zora is, like, driving the car, eventually she, like, slams on the brakes, is able to get
and
Umbre off the top.
flies
Yeah,
into,
she
like,
flies-
a wooded area or whatever like that.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, wraps herself around a tree, basically. I mean, like, that bitch was...
Or through the tree, maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, it kind of looked like
she was super dead, though.
She wasn't dead, though.
Because she was laughing like a fucking maniacal, crazy person.
And Adelaide approached her to verify that she was dead, but instead of, like, killing her and dispatching her, what she does is she, like...
Yeah. Kind of comforts her almost a little bit.
Yeah. Interesting. Arriving at the boardwalk, the Wilsons find many townspeople slaughtered, and the road is blocked by a burning car. Not just any car.
Their car. Yeah. So somehow their car got from their house to the boardwalk and then was lit on fire.
Gee, I wonder who started the fire. He didn't start the fire.
Jason realizes that it's a trap set by Pluto.
Absolutely.
Like, he knows. He's like, oh, shit.
Like,
basically, he's like, get out of the car, you know?
Even if
like,
the kid didn't fucking know it, the parents should have fucking known it.
Yeah. Well, Jason figures it out, and...
he's very smart, honestly.
Yeah,
he figured the whole thing out pretty much from the get.
Yeah. Jason, knowing that Pluto will mirror his actions, begins to walk backwards, which makes Pluto walk backwards and ignite himself on fire.
Yeah, he literally walks into the fire of the car because Pluto was going to strike a match that he had in his hand.
Yeah, there was
a trail of
gasoline leading to their car. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
While the Wilsons are distracted by Pluto burning to death, Red appears and snatches up Jason away to...
Yeah, I don't know. Did you see that happen? I don't even remember seeing it.
It didn't. It happened off screen, but you see like Jason going backwards,
right, and then he's just gone.
And then it's like you see like movement, and then he's gone.
Okay.
So you don't actually see what happens, but
they figure it out. Yeah, like Adelaide basically kind of turns around and chases after Red, like knowing where Red is going. She chases her to the fun house where they first met.
Which, by the way, if you look closely on the side of the funhouse, I think it's the left-hand side into it, carved onto like the wood or whatever, or the words get out.
Really? Did not notice that. I'll have to go back and look at it. So Adelaide chases Red into the funhouse, and finds a secret entrance. Or so we think she finds it. She knew where that entrance was. But anyways, it leads to an underground facility overrun by rabbits, and she then finds Red in a classroom.
Yeah. The rabbits actually played a somewhat important role at the very beginning because there was a whole bunch of caged rabbits that was like
during the opening credits. Right. Yeah.
Red explains that the tethered are genetic clones. Told you.
Yep.
Created by the government, which the government thought they could use to control people.
Yes. So remember earlier I mentioned something about the Goonies? This is where the Goonies reference is, actually. Because Red is telling Adelaide that she's had her time, and now it's our time up there. Which is a literal line from Goonies. It's their time down here, but it's our time. It's their time up there, but it's our time down here. It's when Mikey is in the bottom of the well, pulling up all the change, and he's talking about how it's the Goonies' time to, like, shine, baby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen the Goonies all the way through.
I've seen the Goonies probably 1,000,000 times. It's a little ridiculous. Anyways, so yeah, it's like a literal line from the Goonies. Like, it's our time now. It's our time.
Well, and then also, like, the whole mirroring of, like, the Lost Boys, where, like, the threat came from above, this is the time the threat's coming from below, and the same location where Lost Boys was filmed.
Right.
I mean, that was something that was, like, discussed in, like, History or Horror or something like that. Jordan Peele was talking about, like, the mirroring imaging of that, and I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. When the experiment failed, though,
Miserably.
when the government realized they couldn't actually control people by cloning them and using the clones to control them.
Which I would like to know how they got a hold of all of that genetic material to clone people.
Yeah, I don't know.
I believe they figured out how to make a copy of the body, but not the soul. The soul remains one, shared by two. They created the tethered so they could use them to control the ones above, like puppets.
But the tethered were then abandoned underground for countless years and generations. They continued to produce, obviously, underground.
We have actually no idea how long they've been underground, but honestly, in the flashback sequences when Red is telling the story to Adelaide, it doesn't look like it's that long because the facility itself is still very clean.
Right.
You know, so I would say maybe they were abandoned in like the 60s, 70s,
or 70s,
something like that, because our story
starts
starts off in the
86,
80s.
yeah.
So that's my running theory at least.
But the tethered are shown in her little flashback when she's telling this, shown mindlessly mimicking what's happening to their counterparts above. So like they show people on like a roller coaster and they're all like in a room and they're all like
they're standing completely still, but they're acting like they're going through the paces. And then like Adelaide's dad winning the T-shirt for her, and then it's a very poor imitation of the shirt that's down below, but he gives it to Adelaide. Yes. After the other doppelgangers realized Red was different when she snapped them out of their lethargy, she spent years organizing them to escape and take vengeance by murdering their counterparts.
So there's a scene, I think she said she was like 14. And it was when they were dancing. Yep, and they were very much tethered together at that point. And it was the dancing that opened the eyes of all the other tethered.
Because they realized that she was better at mimicking her counterpart than what she should have been.
And she's the only one who can talk.
That's what you want to call talking.
Well, she can communicate, at least.
She's verbal
instead of grunts.
Right.
Red and Adelaide then begin to fight with this like really cool I got 5 on it orchestral.
So interesting note there. That was never part of the original score.
Oh, really?
They used the I Got 5 on it in the trailers.
Yeah.
And they saw how well that specific trailer.
I think a lot of people heard that opening. Like, it's just the trailer that we're referring to. It's a scene in the movie way back in the beginning when they're on their way to the beach. And the family is just riding together, and I Got 5 on it comes on, and Adelaide is teaching Jason to, like, find the beat on the song.
Right.
Don't. You know, so it's like it's a callback to that beginning part.
It is,
but it's beautiful. This whole fight scene is so cool.
So initially, when they test screened the whole film, like before they had wide distribution on it, that score wasn't in it.
Okay.
And I guess people were a little underwhelmed to
like it needed something.
Like it needed something more. And I guess through the test screenings, when they were asking like the audience what they thought of it, they thought that the song was going to be in the film.
I feel like there was a lot more like fun music stuff in there. Than...
So on the like second or third test screening of it, that's when they introduced that new score featuring like elements of I Got 5 on it, and it was a huge hit.
Yeah. That's awesome. So they basically they begin to fight, but Red evades and counters all of Adelaide's moves, kind of like each one knows what the other one is going to do.
When Adelaide allows Red to attack, she impales Red with a fire poker that she's been carrying since their house.
Yeah, she's been carrying that. That's her weapon of choice, apparently.
Yeah,
she's used it quite a few times.
Right, and then strangles her to death, breaking her neck in the process.
And makes some very strange grunting noises that sound very similar.
And laugh.
Yeah, and
she laughs. The laugh.
Yeah.
The laugh.
And then she finds Jason. Jason is rescued from a locker. He witnessed everything that just happened. He also rescues one of the rabbits and takes it back with him.
Yeah. Do you know why the kid's name is Jason?
Because he wears a mask? Is it a reference to Friday the 13th?
It is.
Oh, I love it!
100% a reference to Friday the 13th.
I love it. I love it. It's funny because, like, Adelaide and Gabe's not a super different name, but, like, Zora is not a typical name.
Yeah.
And then you've got Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason Wilson.
Yeah, Jason Wilson. Anyways.
Anyway. As she escapes in the ambulance... where have we seen the ambulance before? With her family, Adelaide reflects back on the night she first met Red.
And now we get a flashback that explains so fucking much. In the flashback, it is revealed that Red is actually Adelaide.
And Adelaide is actually Red.
Yeah. So Red kidnapped her in the funhouse, strangled her, which is why Red, who was originally Adelaide,
couldn't
has
talk
that voice, that raspy voice. It was because she'd been strangled. She took her down into the tunnels, cuffed her to a bed, handcuffed her to a bed.
Stole her Thriller shirt.
Which is, again, why she ends up handcuffing Adelaide later. Stole her Thriller shirt and walked right back up there and pretended to be Adelaide. Which is why she couldn't talk, because the tethered can't talk. So it took her quite a while to learn how to talk.
And read and write.
And read and write and become 7 or 8 years old again, you know? Like, at that point, she's 7 or 8 years behind all the other kids her age. Yeah, so we learned that Red is actually the real Adelaide and has been trapped down there with the tethered all along. And no wonder she was able to organize them, because she actually has a mind that works differently than the tethered did. She is a normal human.
It would have been interesting to see if the tethered had the opportunity to be normal and was taught how to do those things from birth.
Well, clearly it can be done.
Right. Why did the government just abandon them?
I think the way that Red puts it when she's telling her story is that I think she kind of makes it sound like the government thought they'd just die off. But rabbits reproduce so fast that provided a perfect food source for them. And, I mean, you're not just going to die. You're not just going to starve to death when you have a food source.
But they had to have water, too.
Yeah, I'm sure there had to have been some kind of source of something. They're underground. Sewers. Whatever. I mean, they clearly weren't treated well. Anyways, Jason then looks to his mother, and she just smiles. It's kind of implied that Jason maybe knows what's going on.
Yeah, I think...
It's not clear, but...
I think with him being able to figure out how, like, the tethered are mirror their movements and everything like that he may, especially hearing Adelaide kill Red in the underground and everything like that.
I also think, and this is just my personal opinion, I think Jason's probably somewhere on the spectrum.
A little bit, yeah.
And
that would explain the mask.
And that could be a reason that maybe he's able to see through some of that stuff.
See things differently than what other
look
people
at things
can.
differently
than
what a typical
normal.
What a typical brain, the way that like our brains function, maybe because his brain is different than ours.
I mean, it's a good possibility.
I mean, that's just my impression, was that he's probably somewhere on the spectrum, just
right.
from the way that he acts throughout the entire movie. He doesn't speak a lot. He doesn't really have a
he's
whole
very
lot
quiet,
of
reserved, and everything like that.
Yeah, he's got some weird idiosyncrasies and stuff like that. But
meanwhile, while the Wilsons are driving in the ambulance, apparently to Mexico, we see the tethered have formed a human chain stretching out of Santa Cruz to nearby cities as helicopters fly overhead.
Yeah. Not just like nearby, like up and over mountains. Like, we are to believe that the tethered have formed the Hands Across America.
Because it was very important to Adelaide Red.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that she was...
The reason why...
In the normal world, until she was probably... What was she? Probably like 7 or 8 years old, I would assume. She looked
about
like
that.
Around that age.
But the reason why they did that is because she was wearing a Hands Across America shirt when she was kidnapped by Red.
Underneath the Michael
Thriller
Jackson
shirt.
Yep.
But it was also the last greatest pop culture event that she
happened to her
remembered
before
she was abducted. So she wanted to recreate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why? I do not know. I don't know what purpose
But it took
served.
a hell of a lot of coordination, and it took her coordinating
33
all
years.
of the tethered in order to murder their counterparts.
Yep. It took her at least 25 years to plan it.
Yeah.
At least 25.
Yeah. Well, because they said, like, she was, I think, like 13 or 14, I think they said, when she stopped dancing.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, like, she really, I think she kind of, they knew at that point down there. And
right.
That's when she started realizing, like, she could control the tethered.
Right. Yeah.
So, it was that kind of switch point when at the dance when they noticed that she was different from them. That was when she realized she could control them.
Mm-hmm.
And she very much did.
No, she did. 100%.
You know, the government can control the tethered, but fucking Red could. Anyways, this movie was, that's how we end the movie, on this, like, ominous thought of everybody in the United States has probably been killed, because if we're
not everybody, because there are helicopter pilots
right?
flying overhead.
And if we're to assume that they join the hands
across America
after they've killed their doppelganger.
Mm-hmm. Well, so, I guarantee the Wilsons weren't the only family to fight back and beat down and kill their tethered and everything.
It wasn't
like
impossible for them to
kill them. I mean, they were still very much human. They were not, like, superhuman. They weren't, like, a otherworldly entity. They were still fucking human. Yep. They bled just like we do.
Yep.
So,
but yeah, the implication is
right.
Scary.
Definitely.
It's a bloody machete up for me. This movie is, I love it. It's so good. It's so different.
It is very different. It is definitely something that's very different. It's bloody machete up for me too, but I'm indifferent over the ending.
Understandable. Yeah, the ending, I like honestly that it
ended on such an ominous note.
Yeah.
I mean, certain movies have done it and done it well. This one, I don't know if it just, I don't know, it didn't sit well
for you.
Yeah.
And that's fine. We don't all have to have the same, like, final sit feeling.
Right.
For me, I that feeling that I got as we panned out and saw all the red jumpsuits stretched across was like, ooh. Like, it just gave me this, like, chill. And I liked having that chill as my last thought of the movie.
And we're going to send this straight back to Santa Cruz to the tethered.
And we're going to delve back into my favorite franchise.
Well, one of your favorite franchises.
It's where my favorite movie of all time came from. And if you know me, then you know that it's Scream. And I like to ask everybody, what's your favorite scary movie? We're going to dive.
She really does.
That's my favorite thing to ask people.
With that being said, we're going back to Scream 2.
Let's go to college. Why not?
Because I can't attend.
Well,
I don't have the patience to sit through classes anymore.
But we're gonna go ahead and get into sequel territory with Scream 2 and super meta sequel territory.
Yeah,
honestly.
Honestly.
Like, we're gonna dig into what makes a sequel, and what the rules of the sequels are.
We told you we were gonna start covering more of our franchises that we've already delved into, so yeah, here you go.
Here it is, Scream 2. So come back next week and definitely watch this before. I know you've already seen it. We've all seen it.
I mean,
but watch it again, because this one's actually, like, really good.
I remember going in theaters and watching this.
I saw this one in theater too. Oh gosh, I didn't get to see Scream 1 in theater because I was too young.
Same.
And
Scream 3 just pissed me the fuck off.
Oh god, it's my least favorite of all of them. Anyways, come back next week. We want you to deep dive with us into Scream 2.
Until then, be sure to slash that subscribe button,
stab the like button,
and ring on that grave bell so you don't get lost in the mix and can stay up to date on all of our horror content.
And until next time, we will see you all
in the afterlife.